Do you ever have issues with technology? Well, guess what? A lot of business owners do as well. A lot of businesses have problems with technology as well. And you can make a lot of money from selling people IT consulting. And in this video, I'm gonna go over how you can start an IT consulting business. Right? That sounds kind of scary and like, what is that? And do I need to know what is IT consulting? What is a consult? Like, what do you do? Like, is this expensive? I'm gonna go break everything down. It's not as crazy as you think in this video, and how you can actually create multi-billion-dollar businesses in this monster $200 billion a year market. Yeah, that's the amount of money being spent on IT consulting. And I mean, seriously. We'll dive into it. Let's go. Now, as a business owner, I've lost millions of dollars because, my email's being hacked, my server's being hacked, my data being stolen, integrations abused, just unbelievable amounts of things. And most businesses out there have similar problems. As technology takes over and eats the entire world, so does the need for IT consulting and stuff go up. And I'm going to show you the steps to starting a business. So the first step is you want to really decide on your niche. You want to decide who you're going to go after and how you're going to create a service for them. So in my case, right, I'm working with Zapier, and I'm working with, a certain number of software tools, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, ESPs. My mail servers are extremely important. My website uptime is very important. My load speed and, malicious scripts or stuff like this are really important. So you want to decide on your niche. Maybe you're targeting business owners between $5 and $50 million that run a coaching business. Or maybe you're targeting businesses that are contractors. Again, contractors don't really, they're light on websites, but, maybe they have like work tracking tools that are important, or project management tools that are important to their business, or maybe they have, their cell phones are extremely important. They have to issue every business is different and uses different technology. So what you specialize in, what your niche is, what you create your product and service around is extremely important. So decide on your niche first and who you want to work with. And preferably it should be something that you can understand and know. Maybe it could be any sort of business, right? There's millions of businesses out there. Step number 2 is you want to study your competition fiercely, okay? Look at their website. What are they showing? What are the benefits? What are the negatives? Do they have a team page? What are they discussing? Are they talking about cybersecurity? Are they talking about, like help with development or, design? Or are they, also cross-selling other services like SEO? Or are they, maybe like physical, merchant processing? Or, what is your competition doing? I would create a spreadsheet. I'll just tell you, create a spreadsheet, 5 to 10 companies, get their websites in there, understand how many employees each of these companies have, and really analyze your competition from a deep dive. Understand what types of employees, what types of people even work for them. What are the skills of the employees that work for them? What are the market rates to hire those sorts of employees that work for them? The messaging on the website, what is their main marketing method? Are they doing Google PPC? Are they doing billboards? Are they going to conferences and setting up booths? Really get into, are they sending cold emails or all this stuff? It takes a lot of research to get to this level, probably weeks of research, honestly, to really do a full deep dive. And when I say weeks, I'm talking about 40-hour-a-week weeks of actually doing research, preferably 60 to 80-hour-a-week of research on your competition to really understand what you're getting into. Step number 3 is you need to have some sort of business plan of how your business is going to operate. Are you going to be hiring employees after you get clients? What sort of employees are you going to hire? What are their skills? What are they doing, right? What are you charging an hour? The typical businesses are charging, in IT consulting, are charging for their employees 60 to 120, it can go up to 200 an hour for their employees. And the typical business is charging around at least 10 hours a month, So, we do the math here, and we're looking at about each client is worth at least $1,000 a month, although bigger cybersecurity or IT consulting firms, are charging millions. You can go up to, let's say 1 million a month per client. Now, what you'll also need in addition to a business plan, and this is still step 3, is you need a pitch deck. So you need to create some sort of PowerPoint presentation to actually present to potential customers of exactly what you're going to be doing and exactly how you're going to help their business and exactly how your methods, the methods that you're using, have helped other businesses. Now, notice I said your methods, because at this point you don't have any clients. You don't have any success stories. You don't have any testimonials. And that's the meat and potato of a business. Now, when folks are considering getting any of my training courses or going through my mentorship program, right, they literally could care less what I have to say or if I have a webinar or some sort of presentation. All the folks that are considering going through my mentorship program, I teach people how to start internet businesses, care about the results that other students have gotten. Nobody wants to hear from me. And I have fabulous results, testimonials from, and people want to see them, not just videos, they want to see Facebook messages, text messages, Discord messages, YouTube comments. They want to see the whole 9 yards, and they want to see, in my case, they want to see screenshots of these folks' earnings. Okay? Now, you don't have testimonials. You don't have happy clients yet. So what you've got to do is you've got to show the success of folks who have applied the methods that you're using. Maybe you're helping folks with cybersecurity and securing their servers and getting offsite, like remote backup and, removing old scripts from their web pages. I don't know what you're doing, right? You've got to do research into your competition to figure it out. But whatever you're doing, you can show the positive results of people who have used the methods and the same, use the same sort of service that you're using. That can help you jumpstart your business, because all people care about, really, when they're considering any business, is how has this worked for real people. And once all of this is on your presentation deck and a bunch of examples of how your methods have helped specific clients or specific, businesses, then you're ready to go out into market and start marketing yourself. Step number 4 is marketing. Let's get some customers. Whether you're going after $1,000 a month customers or $1 million a month customers, you got to market yourself. And the great news about IT consulting is that it's extremely easy to market, especially if you're in like cybersecurity. And that would be my recommendation. Go into cybersecurity, right? Help people prevent the worst case scenarios that can shut down their business and have all their customer data stolen and all this sort of stuff. The fear, in marketing, I've been doing marketing since 2008. I've studied under some of the greatest copywriters of all time. I've created my own internet business. I've made tens of millions of dollars marketing products on the internet. I live a nice life, and marketing is the holy grail of marketing is fear. You're going to die, but here's the solution, right? And telling people they're going to, their business is going to die, or whatever variation of that, your website's going to die, your customer data's going to die, your reputation's going to die, and you're not doing anything to prevent it. People want to secure that. It's why the insurance industry is so big. It's why safety stuff for it's why new mothers spend so much money on baby proofing their house and getting organic organic rubber pacifiers and stuff like this. It's a great angle to use, and cybersecurity is a really easy business industry to start a business in, and you can make a lot of money. I know one person who has become a billionaire, with a capital B, a billionaire, living in LA because of his cybersecurity business. It's absolutely crazy. So how do you market yourself? All right. Well, it's what's great is you can market yourself very easily using email. If you find a business owner, you send them an email, You find a business owner on LinkedIn, or you just Google a business, Nike, who's the CEO, who's the CFO, maybe Nike's too big. But the point being is you can email their head of tech, their CTO, and you find something that's wrong with their website. You find something that's wrong with any one of the services they use. You ask them a question that could lead to the potential loss of their business, right? You find business owners and you ask them if they're doing all these best practices or something like that. You could send LinkedIn messages to business owners. You could, email, LinkedIn, phone calls. I think that's really all you need. And that is all you need to start a business and start getting clients, conversations with clients who can potentially pay you $1,000 to $1 million a month. Great. So you're sending out 100 emails a day and you're getting, let's say, call it 5 conversations. That's a bit on the low end. You should shoot for, if you're sending out 100 emails a day, you should be getting into maybe a few more conversations or calls scheduled. But 5 a day out of 100 emails or LinkedIn messages is fine, okay? So pat yourself on the back. You're getting conversations every day. Assuming you close one of those 5 people that you're having a conversation with for $1,000 a month, maybe $100 an hour for 10 hours a month to make sure their servers are secure and their site's loading fast and all this other jazz. Now you're in business. You just got to service the client. So the next step is you got to actually recruit workers that can do this stuff. And you can do so, there's a lot of sites where developers are either on demand or you can hire people full time. There's LinkedIn, obviously. They have like job posting stuff, and you can hire people and try to find folks that are 50, if you're selling at $100 an hour, right? You want to find folks that are about $50 an hour, $40 an hour, right? So if you're 100 an hour, right, you want to spend, let's say you're paying yourself a 20% commission, right? So you want to spend maybe $40 an hour on the actual worker, okay? And you leave a little bit of profit margin so as a company you can kind of grow and operate. Great. So what are the pros and cons of starting an IT consulting business, cybersecurity, whatever you're doing? The pros are it's a $200 billion a year industry and it's growing extremely fast. So unlike many other industries, of course there's a lot of competition and blah, 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 but this industry is growing so fast as the use of technology goes up. You saw all these casinos in Vegas. I was just in Vegas last week. All these casinos got hacked and they had to fork over like tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. It caused, they estimate hundreds of millions or billions of dollars worth of business disruption. I don't know. These numbers are so big. I don't know what to believe, but it definitely cost something like over 100 million. Let's call it that. That's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money, and you can get some clients that are paying you, 20 grand a month. Very commonly, it's these businesses need to lock down their data. There's just so many holes. Even governments are getting hacked, right? Like governments, power plants are getting hacked, like a nuclear power plant got hacked. So businesses want to avoid this, and it's also just really bad press. 23andMe, multi-billion-dollar company, had all the freaking genetics data stolen. What? All of my DNA gene sequences are being stolen. It's just complete negligence, but so there's a lot of opportunity, right? Pros, easy marketing, right? Easy marketing, no fancy shenanigans. Just look, your business can die. If you don't have these things secured, let me help you. Super scalable, lots of prospects, big money. The other pro is it's remote. So everything by default is remote. Now let's talk about the negatives. Now the negatives here are that you have to do sales, or you're going to have to hire salespeople, right? Okay, it's a sales process, right? You'll probably, to close a client, it might take anywhere from 1 to 3 months. Because you're dealing with businesses and because this is an IT expense and possibly a budgetary decision, right? I'd say you're dealing with 1 to 3 months to close. Sales cycle. That's some time, right? It's not like, it's big and easy money, but it's not fast money, right? The other negative, the margins can be high at scale, but I'd say definitely low margins to start, right? Workers are expensive because you're dealing with IT professionals. You know, you're dealing with developers, and developers generally not cheap. And the final con is the amount of research and studying and, you know, competitive analysis that you'll need to do. As I said before, you're going to have to spend weeks. You're going to have to spend many weeks of 40 to 80 hours of like work, like deep work, like not just like, you know, oh, like I'm taking this online course, okay, like leave the video on. I'm gonna like, you know, clean up my house while I'm, you know, watching this online course for college. Not like that sort of research. You know, that's kind of like just, I don't want to think, you know, I just gotta, you know, select the right bubbles on a test sort of research. You got to actually have focused research to figure out what are the competitors offering when they're offering cybersecurity to audio video equipment companies. What are they focusing on? What benefits are they focusing on? What are these services? How much does it cost to hire this sort of developer with this sort of skills? What are the benefits? How much does this thing cost to do? What sort of product knowledge do I have to work with, you know, this, you know, video editing, you know, Adobe, you know, assessing bug issues and scripting hacks in Adobe Premiere, you know. So you have to really spend deep amount of time doing research. Fortunately, you don't really need to be a developer because you're going to be hiring, you know, developers to actually do the work for you. You just need to be good at sales, but you still need to be able to talk about this stuff. So you have to be able to do unbelievable amounts of research. And I'd assume you'd have to spend, I'd say, a solid 4 to 6 weeks of like treat it like a full-time job of research before you even start your business here and start your marketing to, you know, get client conversations. Let's go, right? You know, in my opinion, an internet business is a way easier thing to start. Market other people's products and make money. And that's why I teach affiliate marketing in my training courses. I have a free book down below in the link in the description if you want to check that out. I also have, you know, like a mentorship program and like video training courses and all this other sort of stuff. There's probably links in the description that you can check that out. I think that's easier. You know, I've seen that as the best starting spot. You know, be an affiliate for cybersecurity companies first, you know, would be my call. And then, you know, like generate the leads for yourself if the affiliate thing is working out. That'll be my call. But if you like the information I share on this channel, and if it's giving you ideas of businesses to start or motivating you to go out there and actually like put in the hard, frustrating, confusing, like hair-tearing out effort that it takes to give birth to a business that can supply you with financial, time, and location freedom, then subscribe, you know, and leave me a comment on this video and let me know what your thoughts are on starting an IT consulting business. Like, yay or nay? Why or why not? So, love you guys. Have a good one. See ya in the next video. Let's go.